Hi, folks. We'll get started in a minute here. I am just going to give everyone a chance to get logged on and in from the waiting room. But thank you for joining us today. Hope everyone is having a good week. It is steamy, potentially rainy, that weird misty rain, steamy air here in DC. I expect thunderstorm is potentially in my future for the afternoon. So I'm seeing folks get logged on. I think we're holding steady, so we can go ahead and get started. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. This is a brief webinar on a new technical assistance application that Smart Growth America currently has open to give you a little bit of background on the program itself, what to keep in mind as you hopefully consider putting in an application, and some important details like dates and whatnot. My name is Heidi Simon. I'm the Director of Thriving Communities at Smart Growth America. I'm here with my colleague, Ravina. We will both be working on this program with others on the team and are just really excited to bring it to all of you today. Ravina, next slide. For those of you who might not be as familiar with Smart Growth America as others, we are a national nonprofit that works across areas to support communities on their path to becoming healthy, prosperous, and resilient. This includes work around transportation, housing, and development, and some of the work that we are going to be talking about shortly here today. Next slide. So this application that is currently open is the second round of our Community Connectors program. The Community Connectors program was designed to support leaders in small and mid-sized communities to repair the damage of divisive infrastructure. It's supported by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and has seen great success in building capacity, bridging partnerships, and just fostering new ideas for dealing with some of the legacies of transportation decisions in the past. The second round is taking a slightly different format and topic than the first, and we'll get into that later in the presentation. Slide. So what is the problem that we're aiming to address? Why are we doing this? And it comes down really to what I think is well captured in this photo here on your screen, is that we know that far too many times in the past and even today in certain areas, infrastructure has been used not only to connect communities, but unfortunately to divide communities, that the creation and installation of things like the highway that you see on the left-hand side of your screen there, tore apart communities. It ripped up the fabric. It really divided and became things to overcome for communities versus the way that we know instead transportation should be bringing communities together and bridging those places. It really created space that just left irreparable harm across communities and especially communities of color across the US. Next slide. And these streets not only did they rip up homes and destroy main streets, but they have left legacies for us in terms of the danger and risk that they pose for people in those communities who are still there, especially for those people who walk and bike, take transit, try to get around these dangerous arterials that encourage high speeds as cars travel through communities instead of traveling to communities, and really putting the residents of those communities second at best in terms of priorities. Next slide. Things like missing sidewalks, incomplete networks, curbs, it all creates scenarios like the one you are seeing on your screen here, where if you are walking or biking or waiting to take the bus, you're put in an environment that simply is not designed for you. You're put into an environment that is unsafe, uncomfortable, and just not dignified. And so we really want to think about how we can be working to change that reality for communities across the US to not only support people walking, biking, and taking transit, but to prioritize them in our planning and design. Next slide. Unfortunately, the photos that you saw on your screen of that divisive infrastructure bear out in the data itself. Smart Growth America puts out a report every other year called Dangerous by Design. Our last report was done in 2024. And it shows the trends that we are seeing nationwide in pedestrian fatalities. And unfortunately, the numbers are just historically devastating. A 75% increase in pedestrian fatalities since 2010. And any progress that was made, between 2010 and before 2010 is just being erased at a very fast pace. Next slide. We know that not all communities bear the same burden of that traffic violence. We study things in the Dangerous by Design report, such as race, income, age, and other clarifying categories. We look at things like the income of communities, and we know that lower income areas have far higher rates of pedestrian fatalities than others across the US, and that we need to be devoting resources to be supporting these communities in their travel and mobility and not ignoring them and leaving them behind. Next slide. We also know that people of color are more likely to die while walking than people from any other race or ethnic group, as you can see on the screen here. And I will add that not only are they more likely to die, but they are seeing greater jumps in the rates of their pedestrian fatalities. And so if you look at the similar graphic from previous reports, you'll see that all of the racial categories saw an increase between reports, but the people of color saw a greater increase between reports. And thank you to Rachel for dropping that link in the chat here. Next slide. We know what is causing these deaths. We know where they are taking place. A lot of them are places like you see on the screen here, these multi-lane arterial roads, which see a disproportionate number of pedestrian fatalities across the US. And unfortunately, far too many roads that look like this are serving as main streets for our communities and need to be addressed so that they are able to serve the needs of community members and not the vehicles traveling through those communities. So that was a whole long list of what is wrong with transportation. I did not mean to depress anybody, but I think it's important to understand what this program that we are launching aims to solve. So that is our problem statement. And I'm going to hand it over to Ravina now to talk about how we are hoping some of you will work with us on the solution.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. Very important context to understand what we're trying to do. So what can we do? The Community Connectors program is looking to support 3 teams in a year-long cohort to work to address the divisive and dangerous infrastructure that may exist in their communities. Through a series of virtual trainings, an in-person workshop, peer support, and one-on-one coaching, we're going to support these 3 communities in testing out pilot projects to see what permanent changes to reconnect the community could look like in the future. This will be done through quick build demonstration projects. These are temporary installations testing new street design and improvements for safety, accessibility, as well as other benefits. These demonstration projects, as you can see in these images, can be a variety of materials, different designs, different scales, and they're a real opportunity for creativity as well as relationship building in a community. They can also bring placemaking and arts and culture into transportation, changing the infrastructure to better reflect both the community's needs, as well as their culture, to recognize the history of much of this divisive road infrastructure, and to build a path to repair, to envision what could a connecting form of infrastructure look like where transportation currently divides. We also see safety improvements. We see affordable ways to test new materials or new designs before a long-term expensive project. This is a way to bring folks together, both people who are involved in transportation work to encourage them to try something new, as well as to bring community members, city officials, and other organizations involved in the transportation design process. These demonstration projects are an opportunity to gather feedback rather than another planning meeting where you should put a dot on a map. This lets you actually experience a new way of crossing the street or a new way of biking through your community. And then you can receive more informed feedback from your community members on what this permanent change could look like in the future. And most of all, as we said before, this could be a step to the path of repair in a place where the history is quite dividing. So the big program objectives for the participants of the Community Connectors 2 is to make dangerous streets and roads safer in your community, to repair the damage and to repair the division with a demonstration project to start to envision what a different future could look like. We'll also support developing new skills that could be used on future projects, building the capacity for designing other quick builds or other safety improvements and repairing infrastructure changes in the future. This will be an opportunity to learn more about complete streets, an approach to planning, designing, building, maintaining roads to meet the needs of everyone who uses the roadways, and the role that the complete streets can have in both addressing traffic violence and building great places in your community. This program will also work to build trust and partnerships needed to tackle these projects and to repair the past damage. Having a demonstration project to work together on provides a real tangible outcome to work together and is a really helpful step in the trust building process. Part of this is bringing teams together. This program will bring cities together with community organizations, as well as other partners, to make sure that the approach here is very holistic, collaborative, and genuinely reflects the needs of the community and the city. And then finally, what happens in this program won't just stay here, but rather case studies and other sharing will help bring the lessons learned from this work to those who are interested in continuing forward. So, who is eligible to apply to this program? We're looking for teams representing small to mid-sized cities, about 50,000 to 500,000. Those population sizes are eligible to apply. We're looking for joint team structures. So a pair of a pair of team members representing both a community organization that represents the affected residents or neighborhood of the dividing infrastructure that you're looking to address, as well as a local government with control over the dividing infrastructure. So we know that a lot of arterials are owned and operated by state DOTs. We're looking for locally owned roads and teams that represent that management structure. So what will the teams receive? Each team will participate in a series of virtual trainings, and as well as receiving one-on-one coaching and peer learning opportunities, as well as receiving project grants of up to $25,000 per the selected community team. Note that $5,000 of this grant will be reserved to compensate the community organization co-lead for their time. So up to $20,000 can be used for things like materials, engagement, and other work to support the Quick Build demonstration project. You'll receive support from a technical expert worth up to about $20,000 for each community team to go to work like putting together design plans and other sort of technical support for the designing and drawing of the demonstration projects. And you also receive travel expenses for a convening that will happen in the fall at one of the selected team's locations. So what do you need to apply? We have applications available online, and these ask for a project description. So describe where the street or road is causing the damage, is causing the disconnection, provide a brief history of the corridor, and give us some context for the barriers that this creates. We are also looking for information on the community and the teams. So an overview of what the community looks like, what the affected project area is, describe any recent like co-empowerment or engagement work of the community around the corridor that you're looking to address, And then, of course, partnership, the partner's contact information um, for both co-leads. We're also going to be looking for a list of proposed team members. This doesn't have to be set in stone, but we do know that robust teams succeed. And so we're looking to see who you have in mind for who to join your team on this work. The next section is outcomes. What are your goals through this program? Do you have any past experiences with demonstration projects, complete streets, or repairing the infrastructure you're looking to address? And what are your anticipated barriers or challenges in doing this work? We look for brief local commitments to conducting a demonstration project, to engaging a cohort, as well as an optional opportunity to host the in-person workshop. In addition to these materials, you can also submit letters of support, photos, links. There's room to share more if you are able. Once the applications are received, we will be using the following selection criteria to decide who the cohort will be. We'll be looking for geographic diversity and the demonstrated need with a priority on lower capacity communities. We're looking for a connection to urban renewal or a past history of harm or division, looking to repair a divide that might have been caused intentionally. We want to see readiness and commitment illustrated in the applications. And then the team arrangement and partnerships, seeing the strength of the collaboration and the types of structures that we are seeing in the applications regarding the team structure. So here's an overview of the timeline of this process. Today is the informational webinar. The application is opened until the end of August. And starting at that point, SGA will be reviewing the applications. Winners will be notified and the selections will be announced in mid-September, which will be also when the program kicks off. October will be some virtual trainings. November will continue virtual trainings and the teams will begin initial design. November is also when we anticipate hosting an in-person workshop, bringing all 3 cohorts together in one location. December will be for community engagement, finalizing project design. January and February will continue the virtual trainings and will be when materials are procured. And then March, April, May is when the projects will be installed and evaluated, and the participants will give their final project presentations. So we see how it all went. I'd also like to highlight we have a call for technical experts open. So if you are interested in supporting this work on the technical side, please submit your proposal by August 22nd and do reach out with any questions about that. And that is our presentation. It is now time for questions.
Thanks, Ravina, and thanks to everyone for listening. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in that question and answer tab on Zoom. I see we have one on county roads. I think we'd be willing to work with a county partner, but we would definitely want to see that there is control over the infrastructure so that we would be able to deploy the quick build and that the community, the surrounding community area would be well represented as well. Will communities be considered that are smaller than 50,000? We do have some flexibility on the size of communities. So feel free to email if you have something specific, although we are looking to stay fairly close to the guidance of the application itself. Any other questions? Oh, now they're all coming in. Only locally owned roads are correct. Some of you might be familiar with the program that we do with state DOTs. This is a separate program, and we will not be considering state-owned arterials for this session. Megan, I see your question on the county versus neighborhood. Let me get back to you on that. We will be posting answers to all these questions on the website with an FAQ. So you will be able to find that there. But Megan, I will also reach out to you directly with an answer to that question, because that is something that I just want to double check before I commit to it. Coalition of folks. I think so. The only thing that we would look for in the coalition is that you would still need to identify the two co-leads. So you would still need to have one individual from city staff and one individual from a specific CBO. Who you build out for the team from there would be up to you. But the application itself does require two specific individuals to help kind of be those points of contact for us. Okay, what questions am I missing, Ravina?
Can an MPO take the lead for a city?
It would come down to the jurisdiction, I think, of the control of the facility that you're looking to do a quick build on. You would need to be able to deploy that quick build. Other questions?
Could a chamber function as the city representative, or do we need a more formal department?
Let me go double check. My instinct is that you would need a more formal department, because the city representative, we're hoping, would be the one to shepherd through any permitting requirements to help deploy that quick build. So we would want someone who'd be able to navigate that process on behalf of the city.
And then anonymous, I will show the slide with the cost breakdown again just now.
And just to clarify, the $25,000 is a grant. So that is funds that will be given directly to the participating communities. The $20,000 for support is services that the community will receive. So you will not receive the $20,000 as direct funds. And again, if you have other questions, feel free to reach out by email to either Ravina or myself. Examples of the technical assistance. I'm assuming this is for the support from a technical expert. Ravina, do you want to share some examples of what we've seen in the past?
Yeah, so we have seen engineering firms do the concept drawings of a demonstration project, especially when a city doesn't have staff on hand. Also, it just relieves some of the engineering burden off of the city. They can also often do the measurements that are necessary for this. So, you'll see concerns around turn radii, what vehicles can fit through, what redesigns, and they can do those analyses. We also will include them on the presentations to make sure that you're getting really good quality design information about complete streets and quick builds and the most up-to-date design strategies for safety and reconnection.
Yeah, they can also help brainstorm specific solutions, designs that you might not consider or might not be familiar with, make recommendations about materials and possibility for partnerships or procurement. So they're really great partners in this work, and we're happy to be able to bring them whoever that may end up being. Please consider sharing the RFP.
Could cities partner for longer corridors that cross borders?
Let me take that back and get an answer for you. I don't know that we've tackled cross-jurisdictional support before, so I want to check into that. Megan, it completely depends on the design. So the question is if grants are able to fully cover the materials and construction. We have seen that be the case. We have seen this also be the catalyst for cities to take the project and go bigger than we are able to directly support, either as part of this initial project or with a follow-up project. We would help you scope it out with your partners and with the technical expert to get it within the budget, if that is the case, or within whatever budget you set with your team. And yes, we have lots of data around how these projects work. This is also quick build demonstrations are an approved activity by the U.S. Department of Transportation in their Safe Streets and Roads for All program. So this is also a strategy that is used at the federal level as a countermeasure to improving safety. For communities smaller than 50,000, we're trying to stay as close to that range as possible, but we will look at applications that fall outside of that. And again, if there is specific information that you're looking for, specific to your case, feel free to reach out by email. We are happy to get it. We will post as many general answers to these questions in an FAQ to the application website as quickly as possible. And Rachel, can we also email a list of the FAQs to those who are on the call with us now? Perfect. Thank you. So if you are on the call with us today, you will also receive the FAQ directly in your email. And I'm not seeing any new questions come in. Ravina, anything you would add as we wrap up here?
I think we just encourage you to apply. If you think you're eligible and you have a good idea for a project and you have an idea for a team, build that team, reach out with any questions. We really want to see what you can do with this opportunity.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.